Hello, this is Jeff at Magical Fruit Toots. In this Photoshop CC tutorial, I will show you how to use Photoshop's 3D features to create a video of a spaceship revolving around the Earth. The ship will be revolving in a different direction than the Earth. Finally, I will show you how to make the 3D animation loop-friendly. This procedure will also work for other objects, such as a moon orbiting a planet. To begin, open up the Earth texture map image in Photoshop. The link is in the description area. Then choose 3D, New Mesh from Layer, Mesh Preset, Sphere. Now to create a 16:9 ratio canvas, choose File New and create a new canvas, size 1920 by 1080 at 300 pixels per inch. Change the name from Untitled to Ship Earth. Click Create. Now we will copy the Earth object over to the Ship Earth canvas. Select the Earth canvas to make it active. Drag the Earth layer into the Ship Earth canvas. Then, without letting go of the mouse, drag it back into the Ship Earth canvas. Next, to center the Earth, press the Hand tool to leave 3D space. Then press Ctrl-A to select everything. Press V to activate the Move tool. Then in the Move tool settings, select Align Vertical Centers, then click Align Horizontal Centers. Deselect the selection. Close the Earth JPG file as you are done with it. Rename the background layer Earth. If you do not have the 3D panel or the Properties panel showing, turn them on using the Windows menu. Choose Windows 3D or Windows Properties as necessary. To create the ship object, I used a pre-made model from TurboSquid, Space Frigate 6. The link is in the description area. The link will bring you to the Models page. Click the Download button. You'll need an account if you don't already have one. It's worth your time to set one up, as TurboSquid is an excellent source for models. Many of them are free. Here's a tip. If you are searching for free models, type in what you're searching for in the search bar. Click the search icon. To find free spacecraft, select the price criteria and enter 0 in the minimum price and 0 in the maximum price. Then press Apply. You will then be taken to a page of all free spacecraft models. Also, if you are using the model in Photoshop, you should use a low poly model. Click the Poly Count category, then choose the Up to 10K filter. I downloaded the Space Frigate 6 RAR file, which includes some materials for the ship. Uncompress the file and put all the files in your working directory. Now to import the image, choose 3D New 3D Layer from File. Open the Space Frigate 6 OBJ file. Press OK to accept. The ship will appear in front of the Earth object. To make things easier, rename the Space Frigate layer to Ship. Also rename the Space Frigate 6 object in the 3D panel to Ship Object. And rename the associated material to Ship Mats. At this point, we will duplicate the ship to provide a counterbalance needed to adjust the axis of rotation so it will be centered inside the Earth. Choose the ship object in the Layers panel. Then right-click and choose Duplicate Layer. Name it Dummy. Rename the ship object to Dummy Object. Rename the dummy material to Dummy Mats. Select the Earth layer, then in the 3D panel, rename Sphere to Earth Object, and rename the associated materials to Earth Mats. Next, we need to merge the 3D layers so they can be worked with in the same 3D scene. In the Layers panel, select the Dummy layer. Then hold down Command or Control and select the Ship layer and the Earth layer. Then from the 3D menu, choose Merge 3D Layers. All three objects will be centered in 3D space. So right now, the ships are inside the Earth. To make things easier to follow, in the Layers panel, rename the newly merged object to Merged. Next, we will resize the ship. Set the current view to top. Select the ship object. You can either hold down Shift and use the drag tool, or use the Move on X-axis control to move the ship out to the left, as demonstrated. At this point, we will scale the ship to the size we want it to be, in relation to the Earth. Use the Scale Uniformly control, located near the green axis of the ship, and drag down as shown. Let go when satisfied. Check your dimensions for the shipped object. I ended up with about 119.56, 34.58, and 126.16 pixels in the third column. Change your dimensions to agree with mine. The ship is quite big in relation to the size of the Earth. However, those space aliens are really large, aren't they? While we are at it, to resize the dummy ship, select the dummy object. Then in the Dummy Properties Dimensions, change the values in the third column to those we just used for the ship object, i.e. 119.56, 34.58, and 126.16 pixels. Now let's adjust the outer position of the ship and the dummy ship. It is important that we don't move the Earth, as it is centered in world space. Now to move the ship object, choose the ship object. Choose the slide icon to enable the slide tool, or use the Move Along X-axis and drag to the left as demonstrated. Choose the Dimensions option in the Properties panel, and make note of the X value in the first column. This was a minus 451.56 in this case. Now we want to move the dummy the same distance in the opposite direction. Select the dummy object. In the Properties Dimensions area, change the X value to a plus 451.56, the same value we used for the ship object, except plus, not minus. Now the ship and the dummy ship are at equal distances from the Earth, and their axis of rotation will be at the center of the Earth when we group them later. Next, to reorient the ship's position, select the ship object in the 3D panel. In the Properties panel, Coordinates, change the second column Y to 90 degrees. The front of the ship will now be facing the direction in which it is moving. Next, to texture the ship, turn off the eye of the dummy object so we can see changes to the ship object better. Move to the ship object, not the dummy object, and the ship mats material for the ship object in a 3D panel. Click the material icon next to the materials to see the materials panel. Click the diffuse icon and select Replace Texture. An Open File dialog appears. If you don't see your file at the Browse location, change the file type to All Formats. Then select the Space Frigate 6 color.png file. To load the specular materials, click the specular icon and then choose Load Texture. Now choose the Space Frigate 6 specular.png file. To load the illumination materials, click the illumination icon, then choose Load Texture. Then choose the Space Frigate 6 illumination.png file. Finally, to load the ship bump map, click the folder next to the bump map settings, then choose Load Texture. Select the Space Frigate 6 bump.gif. Next, we need to group the ship object and the dummy object. Before you group, save a backup of your work so far. You may need to come back to this point to resize or reorient something. In the 3D panel, choose the ship object, then hold down Command or Control and select the dummy object. Next, in the 3D menu, choose Group Objects. A new group will be created, named New Group. Select the dummy object. In the Properties Mesh panel, check the Invisibility checkbox, then uncheck the Catch Shadows and the Cast Shadows boxes. Next, to rotate the Earth, choose Windows, Timeline to open up the timeline. Then choose Create Video Timeline. To resize the viewport, in order to have more space available for the timeline, click the Zoom Out icon 2 or 3 times to shorten the timeline view. Then drag out the timeline to expand it to 16 seconds. While you are at it, click the Timeline Settings control and make sure Enable Timeline Shortcuts is enabled. If not, check it. Expand the timeline panel to get more room. Next, we will animate the Earth's rotation. Go to Current View and choose the top view. Twirl down the merged objects. Then twirl down the 3D meshes. In the 3D panel, select the Earth object. Place the playhead at the beginning of the track. Select the Earth object stopwatch. A yellow keyframe will appear. Choose the Coordinates icon in the Properties panel. Notice that the middle column degrees is 0, 0, 0. That is our start position. Now drag the playhead to the 4-second position. Then choose the coordinates again in the Properties panel. Change the Y degrees to -90. So the middle degrees column will now be 0, -90, 0. Remember to press Enter after every change in a dimensions column. Now drag the playhead to the 8-second position. Then choose the coordinates again in the Properties panel. Change all degrees in the degrees column to 0. Then change them to -180, 0, and -180. If you end up with +180, 0, +180, that's okay too. Now drag the playhead to the 12-second position. Then choose the coordinates again in the Properties panel. First change them to 0, 0, 0. Then change to 0, 90, 0. Move the playhead to the end position. The track time indicator should be at 15 seconds and 29 frames. Choose the Coordinates icon in the Properties panel. Change the middle degrees from 90 degrees to 1 degree. Press Enter. Then change it to 0 degrees. Press Enter again. The ending position should be 0, 0, 0, the same as the beginning. That way loops will be almost smooth. More on this later. Go back to current view. Then press Home to go to the beginning of the track. Press the space key to run the animation. I've sped this up a little to save time. The Earth should appear to be spinning clockwise all through the animation. Move the playhead to the beginning of the timeline. Once you have the Earth animation working correctly, I recommend that you make another backup so that you don't have to redo your work if you have problems with the ship animation. If you have opened the project from a backup, the grid settings are still there. You need to turn back on the Earth stopwatch if it is not on to see the keyframes. Next, we will animate the ship's rotation around the Earth. Turn back on the eye of the dummy object. Even though it is still invisible, you may see a ghost ship for a while. It will go away later. Go to Current View and choose the top view. Select the Dimensions icon to view the coordinates. Now select the new group, which is the ship group. Place the playhead at the beginning of the track. Press the Home key. Select the new group stopwatch. A yellow keyframe will appear across from the new group. Notice that the middle column degrees is 0, 0, 0. That is our start position. Now move the playhead to the 4-second position. In the second column, change the Y degrees to 90 and press Enter. A keyframe should appear below the 4-second mark across from the new group. Press the left triangle icon alongside the new group stopwatch. This will bring you to the previous keyframe, i.e. the beginning keyframe. Now press the right triangle icon alongside the group stopwatch to go back to the 4-second keyframe. Nothing has changed as the 4-second keyframe is still 0, 90, 0. Now drag the playhead to the 8-second position. In the second column, first press the Reset Coordinates icon, which will change all the values to 0. Then change the X, Y, and Z degree values to 180, 0, 180. They probably will change to minus 180, 0, minus 180. That's okay. Press the left triangle icon alongside the new group stopwatch. This will bring you to the previous keyframe, i.e. the 4-second keyframe. Now select the right triangle icon alongside the group stopwatch to go back to the 8-second keyframe. If it is not minus 180, 0, minus 180, change it so it is. Enter 180 in the X and Z degrees. If you change it, go back and forth to the previous grid mark to make sure the change took. Photoshop may be confused because you are using 180-degree angles while moving in counterclockwise direction. When you go back to previous frames, Photoshop may have changed them by a few tenths of a degree. For example, 90 degrees may have changed to 89.9 degrees. That's okay. Now drag the playhead to the 12-second position. In the second column, first press the Reset Coordinates icon, which will change all the values to 0. Then change the X, Y, and Z degree values to 0, minus 90, and 0, respectively. Now go back to the 8-second keyframe. Then move forward to the 12-second keyframe. It's 90 degrees, not minus 90. So change the middle Y degrees to minus 90 degrees. Finally, press the End key to go to the end position. In the second column, press the Reset Coordinates icon, which will change all the values to 0. Now move back to the 12-second keyframe. Then move forward to the end keyframe. If it is not still 000, change it so it is. Now check all the keyframes starting at the ending and working backward using the left triangle icon, just to make sure everything is as it should be. To check the rotation, press Home to go to the track beginning. Then press Space to see that the ship is rotating counterclockwise around the Earth. Now to see it from a front perspective, go back to Current View. Change the view to Front. Toggle on the Perspective view. From this view, the Earth is too small in relation to the canvas. We want the Earth's diameter to be about half the height of the screen. To fix, change by setting the FOV to about 54. Click the Hand tool to go back to normal space. Adjust the Timeline panel for more space. Zoom in to see better. Then press Home to go to the beginning of the track. Press the Space key to run the animation. I've sped this up a little to save time. The ship should appear to be orbiting counterclockwise around the Earth from a front view perspective. Next, to add the Starfield background, you can use the static Starfield image. A link is in the description area. Zoom out some to see the entire canvas. Press Home to move the playhead to the beginning. On the merged layer, press the little up arrow to hide the detail. Move to the background layer. Place embed the Starfield background. Hold down Alt or Option and Shift and drag on the corner of the Starfield to expand it to cover the entire canvas as demonstrated. Press Enter or the big check mark to accept. Delete the background layer as we no longer need it. The Starfield will be placed at the bottom of the timeline. Twirl up the merged track to see things better. Drag the Starfield track to the end so that it lines up with the end of the merged clips above it. Zoom back in on the canvas to see it better. Then press the spacebar to see the animation. I've sped this up to save time. Finally, a few more tweaks before rendering. We'll adjust the lighting a bit. Make the merged layer active. Choose Infinite Light from the 3D panel. Change the light intensity to 93% and the shadow softness to 40%. Click the Dimensions icon. To set Infinite Light to the same angles as mine, enter 21.5, 30.4, and -45 in the middle degrees column. To rough up the Earth texture a bit, select the Earth Objects Materials. Change Roughness to 20% and Bump to 50%. Choose the Ship object. In the Mesh Properties, turn off Cast Shadows. Also choose the Ship Object's Ship Mattes. Then change Shine to 30% and change the Bump setting to 50% and the Reflection to 20%. Finally, we are ready to render the video. First, in order to determine a strategy to make the video loop-friendly, we will examine the tracks in the terms of frames. To see current frame number, Alt or Option click the track time indicator. It should turn into a frame indicator. The indicator shows it is at frame 479. Choose the Earth object in the 3D panel. In the Properties panel, you will see that all the degrees settings in the Degrees column are 0, 0, 0. Now choose the New Group object. In the Properties panel, you will also see that all the degree settings are 0, 0, 0. We already know all our starting degrees for both tracks are 0, 0, 0. So what will happen if we loop these tracks is that the animation will seem to pause at the end before looping back to the beginning, as both the beginning and the end are set to 0, 0, 0 degrees. The solution is to not render the last frame or to remove the last frame. To remove the last frame on both tracks, press the left arrow key or the Move to Previous Frame button once to move the playhead to frame 478. Now in the timeline settings, choose Move and Trim. Trim end at playhead. Move to the Starfield layer. In the timeline settings, choose Move and Trim. Trim end at playhead. The last frame has been removed from both tracks. Finally, to make things more interesting, we will use the Orbit tool to tilt the view so it appears to be looking slightly downward onto the ship. Choose the Merged layer. Go back to the current view. If necessary, choose the Move tool to open 3D space. Use the Orbit tool to slightly tilt the view as demonstrated. Now to render the animation, press the Render button. In the Range area, choose All Frames. In the Select Folder area, I usually use the working directory where my project files are located. Here are the settings I used for this project. Press the Render button to render. I've sped the video up to save time. It took about 30 seconds to render this video. Here is the resulting video. It should be noted that if you are interested in looping the animation, and you use other applications such as Windows Media Player or QuickTime to view the track looped, you may get loop stutters. Your video is probably okay and should work well by placing the clip in a video editor program like Adobe Premiere, iMovie, or Video Studio Pro, and then duplicating the track and placing it immediately after the original. Of course, if you know beforehand how many loops you want, you can duplicate the track on the Photoshop timeline before rendering. Shorten the track view with the Zoom Out icon control. Duplicate the merged layer. A merged copy track will appear as the top track. Now drag the original merged track up behind the merged copy track. Then lengthen the Starfield track to the same clip length as the others. You now have a clip that will loop twice and will be twice as long. This concludes the tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed it.